our procedure was, we respond to the area, we surround it, we contain it, and wait for the SWAT team. Problem is this, even if the SWAT team's all right here in Cortland, how long do you think it takes them to mobilize to get at least 4 of them together? Anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on where they are. Now, if it's out in the county, forget about it. So what we realize as police officers is that now, when we respond to an active shooter situation, we're going to come right in, we're going to go straight to the sound of gunfire. We're going to step over bleeding people, we're going to step over dead people. Our job when we first get in that building is to go to directly where the gunfire's coming and confront that shooter and eliminate him. What happens to most shooters? They kill themselves. Why do you think that is?
Don't want to go to jail.
They're generally
That
depressed.
could be it.
Generally depressed going into it.
Could be.
They don't have like get anything farther.
Good job, yeah. They got a great plan to come in and shoot whoever they want to shoot, right? They don't have a plan of what's going to happen after that because they're very focused on that goal. So many of them start realizing, oh, there's other people with guns coming after me. And so that's why most of them do kill themselves. And you guys can ponder this, you psychology majors. You let me know if you talked about this in class at all. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to be interested here in what you guys say, if you don't mind.
No, please do.
I mean, maybe this is just because I'm an old person. It first came to my attention walking the residence halls, maybe late 90s. Remember AOL? You've got mail.
Yeah.
That was way before all of you, right? But I was walking down the hallway in the low rise, and I heard the noise, and I stopped. And there's 2 young ladies in a res hall room, and they're back to back, and their computer's like ding, ding, ding. And I started talking about it. What are you guys doing? Oh, we're IMing. Well, who are you IMing? Each other. And that just hit me as like the most ridiculous thing I had ever heard in my life. I said, you're sitting in the same room, for the love of God. Yeah, but now we can talk to each other when we feel like it because we can work on our homework and, you know, I can talk when I feel like talking. I don't have to talk if I don't feel like talking. And from that point forward to this point, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a real big group of people who have very poor interpersonal communication skills because our communication has been what?
Over text.
Texting, emailing, right? Computers. How many people you see crossing the street looking at their cell phones? A lot. I can't, you know, this is the thing that really bothers me is I can't believe we haven't had more people hit either down here at about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning crossing Main Street or at what we call the cattle crossing at Newbig. We call it the cattle crossing. I know that's not very nice. But we actually have more people that don't understand how a crosswalk works. What does the law say about pedestrian traffic and crosswalk? Does anybody know?
They have the right of way.
All right. When do they have the right of way? At what point must I stop if I'm operating a car
If they're in the road.
if they're in the crosswalk? You think most people think that? No. They think that if they're standing on the sidewalk, the minute I see them, I'm supposed to stop. Or if they step off as the car's coming, that I'm supposed to screech to a screeching halt, or I can be ticketed. It's the opposite, right? If you block traffic and you're not in the crosswalk yet, you are violating the law. If you're already in the crosswalk and they keep coming, they are violating the law. Problem with that is it's our safety we're all talking about. So people understanding those laws are very, very important. But I see people walking across Broadway against the signal looking at their cell phone. And that scares the living you-know-what out of me. Every time I see it, I go, oh, this isn't going to be good. And I have just been so surprised that nobody's been hit down there, knock on wood. It's not a good thing. But that's what I've seen in a big way since I've been a police officer, is the change in communication skills and the change in being able to handle anger and how anger affects you and how we're communicating with each other. And I do know this, we all need to start getting along in this country or we're going to have a real big problem. So I'm thankful I'm retiring and questions? You always wanted to ask a cop about everything? I'm that guy. I'll answer anything. All right. Is there anything you can think of that maybe,
You've actually, I'm glad I
Trying to cover the
because
gamut
we're gonna
here
be
for you.
building this into protocols, and we're gonna have to really spend some time thinking back, hey, what do you do if people come in who aren't supposed to be here? Or what do you do if you have somebody who's belligerent? And so we're gonna need to be talking about it. All right, what do you do in this open room with, and it will be a target-rich environment because you're gonna have people sitting quietly in stationary places. So we're gonna have to do, probably I'll put these guys to work doing a quick tour of the building, finding out, okay, what is gonna be your escape plan and what do we need to do?
know where all your exits are?
Mhm.
I mean, you can get outside through some of these other exits that are locked, but luckily you can unlock them from the inside, I would presume.
Unfortunately, a lot of them, with some of them are painted shut and some of them aren't, so we're gonna have to explore that and find out which ones can be open and.
If you need to pick up a couch and throw it through that door to get out, then that's what you do, you know? I mean, that's just the way it goes. We even talk about in our line of work, if the doors are barred, we're gonna drive a patrol car through the door if we gotta get in. You know, I mean, that's, it's any way we can get into that building to start saving people's lives, that's what we're gonna be doing. So that the opposite works true when you're talking about escaping, as opposed to, oh, I did want to touch on, because a lot of people express after that video, well, that's really stupid. What am I going to do against a guy with a gun? So let me explain the psychology behind it. That just hit me as funny. A shooter gets involved with, or anybody who has committed themselves to doing a physical thing, is involved in what tactically us instructors call an OODA loop. Has anybody ever heard that before? OODA stands for, it's O-O-D-A, and it stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. Now this is what we all go through when we decide to do something, right? We observe the environment, okay? We orient ourselves to what it is we're going to do, we decide to do it, and then we do it. The key here is if you can interrupt my OODA loop, then you may be able to save yourself. So in other words, if I walk in here with a gun, and 2 or 3 of you throw something at me, every human being has a flinch instinct whether I have a firearm in my hand or not. So if you can interrupt what I am deciding I'm going to do long enough for 2 or 3 of you to grab a hold of me and grab a hold of an arm or a weapon, you've pretty much saved everybody's life in this room in a very, very short period of time. Does that make sense? So, you know, that's what amazed me about that Colorado movie theater shooting, is not any of those people, you know, really said. Of course, I'm one of those weird folks that I said, you put me in the lobby of that Newtown, Connecticut school and that wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? I'm just one of the people that put me in that spot. That's what I've trained to do. Probably have to put me in the loony bin afterwards, but I'll be able to take care of the job for you. But we don't really give thought to that. It's funny about how we perceive violence or firearms and how that's changed. Now, I use my wife as an example. When we first got married and I became a police officer, she was very, very uncomfortable with me carrying off-duty. Does that make sense? She hated guns. Didn't like guns. I don't like guns. Guns kill people. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Okay? So, but as all these things have evolved and all these things have become front and center and everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame, that's the bad people who shoot other people, and they want to be on YouTube and they want to be on video and all, you know, they have newscasts around. I mean, I like the countries where they don't broadcast people's names or anything like that when they have a shooting like that, because they don't give people the 15 minutes of fame. But now we're to the point where there's been so many shootings in shopping malls and public places and things like that. If we're leaving the house, she'll say, "You got your gun?" Which, and we've talked about this, the amazing difference in the perception, you know, and you know, having somebody with you who knows how to use a weapon. And I mean, that's why all police officers should carry off duty, if you ask me, because the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
These guys don't know, you guys didn't carry guns always, that was relatively
No, I did
recently.
this job actually for 12 years without a firearm. Even though we were sworn police officers and we had to qualify twice a year and train in them and pass to keep our jobs, but we weren't allowed to carry them
That
on
was
duty.
what, less than 10 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because the president at the time just didn't like guns and didn't think they were necessary.
One thing I'd like to add that it probably, my guess is you're reiterating, let's suppose something, odds are again, nothing's ever gonna happen. You might have somebody who's kind of annoying and you're concerned, you might make the call, and I encourage you to make the call. But odds are nothing's gonna happen. But if something does, whether that's a criminal act or whether it's a medical emergency, if you called 911, at the moment you called 911, begin following directions to the T. And that's true. If the UPD shows up in emergency, if emergency workers come up, follow directions to the T.
It also is very helpful for us if your staff has something identifying themselves as such. Either a name tag or a hang tag that says staff. That's extremely helpful to us. Otherwise, everybody looks like a college student to me. You know what I mean? And that really is important. If I come in and I want to know your staff, or when I come in, you can say, "Officer, I'm the one who called." At least identify yourselves as the reporter, so we know, that we can get some information from you and help you as fast as we possibly can. So something that identifies you is a very, very good idea as well. And all those protocols, like you were talking about, boy, it does bring up a lot of topics with what's our procedure for if we think there's somebody else in the building, because there should be a step-by-step guide.
Okay.
And we definitely can help, sit down at a meeting with you and help you with going through those kind of things, and we wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of other places that.
Well, maybe what I'll do is I'll put these guys to work, we'll look at the videos and we'll come up with, okay, what are all the things we need to come up with a plan? I'll get them to put together a plan and we'll run it by you and see what suggestions you have.
Perfect, Ellie. Next time we'll have drinks and pizza and sit down at the table and do a little socializing while we're doing it. But it's always good to have a plan. I mean, a plan for everything. You can never be too prepared. You really can't. Because it does, and the thing about, the reason I'm grateful that we get asked to do things like this is now at least you've seen somebody in uniform, you've talked to somebody. We want you guys to be able to feel like you can call us and we're going to be here and we're going to help you. Community policing has always been a huge aspect of the University Police Department, and that's one of the reasons why I like working there, to be honest. I do municipal policing other places. I came from the county. I still work for the Village of Homer. But I do love the community policing oriented style of policing, because we all need to take responsibility for our safety. And, you guys know we can't be everywhere all the time. When we're fully staffed, there's 12 uniformed officers, 4 uniformed supervisors, and an investigator. That's it, for 24/7 coverage on our campus. And when you think about how many people are on campus during the day, which is up to 10 to 12,000 people, that's the size of a small city.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about 2 officers being on duty, 3 maybe if it's a heavy day. There's a lot of times when there's a supervisor and an officer on, that's it. There's many times like tonight, if we have somebody who's sick or somebody has a vacation day coming, it's 1 officer on duty. Plus with whoever the city has, but they've got the entire city, and sometimes they only have 3 to 4 people on a shift. Sheriff's Department might have 3 cars in the county, and the state police too. So, there's a lot of times when there's not a lot of us around, so we all need to work together to stay safe and be safe. So I hope I didn't bore you guys all too bad tonight. It's a tough room, but we made it. And I know that Rathskeller thing.
You know,
Cool place. It's like, I don't know, I just got a sweatshirt here. It's a Christmas present, get off me. All right. Yeah, we play a lot of places in Binghamton. We used to play Touch of Texas in Johnson City when that was open. Magic City Music Hall.
Oh, that's
Are you from the Binghamton area?
No, I just got the sweatshirt.
Awesome. Well, my name again is Lieutenant Bennett. So don't be afraid to call up and ask us for anything. I don't think there's any such thing as a stupid question, please. Besides stupid questions, they're easier to answer than really good ones, so we should consider ourselves lucky when people ask them. But anything you need, let us know, okay? I mean, the thing that would bother me if I was here alone, I had these windows, like any Joe Blow can walk up here and look in the window. If this was my house, I'd take care of that in a heartbeat. But, you know, this is like a sunroom, a front room,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when this was a residence. And he knows, I talked to him for a while, he knows the history, so that's really cool. I always thought it was Wickwire related. See if she calls me. I thought she might have just called me. 40 UPD, did you just call me?
Ted, are you almost done at 60 Tompkins?
Affirmative, what you got?
Could you go over and meet Samantha Howell at the Miller voting dock? She's been locked out of her office.
Told you.
She's been meeting.
10-4, it'll be a few minutes, but I'll get up there. No reward.
Thank you.
All right. Nice to meet all of you. Please don't hesitate to call us, okay? We're here for you guys. We want you to be safe.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
Oh, no. I hate applause. I hate it. All right. Now I'm going to go back to unlocking doors. Have a good night, you guys.
In fact, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you guys go, but let's do this, seriously, let's kind of start thinking about the topics. And again, what are the odds anything really bad is going to happen? Well, I was riding on a train once and got struck by another freight train, so it happened to me. I will tell you this, I was working as a group home counselor once, and I'd never learned how to do the Heimlich maneuver, but I had this kid come running in and saying, as a kid is choking, turned out he'd swallowed candy, and I luckily had seen on the wall how to do it, and I luckily didn't crack his ribs doing it, and I watched the candy go spewing out of this purple kid's mouth, and he lived. So yeah, all this stuff, it's amazing, even though you weren't trained, you just kind of think about it in advance. So let's do this. Why don't all of you guys just kind of think about, what do I need, what would I do if a drunk comes in here, or 3 drunk college students comes in here and gets rowdy, or if one of your students, I had this work on a job once, I was working and I had a guy work for me, and he weighed about 280 pounds, and he stood up and collapsed on the floor, and I had to get an ambulance there, and turned out he tried to kill himself with Benadryl, which isn't real effective. But what would you do? And so kind of start thinking about that stuff. And let's start thinking about what would we do if we had, that emergency shooter situation. Where are we going to go? Because, I was like in this room. I don't know what I would do. So why don't we begin to kind of just think about it? And maybe one of the meetings, when we're in a study session, we'll take a tour. If you're doing a study session, show people around. And we're even show you the famous basement. And we'll give you a tour if you haven't seen it. But just kind of be thinking about those things, and over the next few weeks we maybe can come up with some scenarios and some plans. Okay? Alright, thank you, and I will see you guys in your study sessions. We'll be back up on campus from now on.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
I met with my advisor today, and is there like a specific CRM number?
There will be, as a matter of fact, I just sent an email out to everybody. What everybody's going to do is you're going to sign up for all of your other classes.
Yeah.
Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to send them everything, single availability. I included a rating system. For every hour rose, I want you to rate them. That's my first choice. These are my first choice. These are my second choice. Every time
It's
you
like,
can.
it's about 4 slots each.
I've got
It will be, 4
4
2-hour slots,
So
and
I
I'm
really got
basically
stuck
close
with
to
that.
your first or second choices I get, but I gotta get everybody's in before I do that. So that, and within 24 hours, or preferably by the day you sign up for everything else, send me your schedule. And then what I'm gonna do, as soon as I get everybody's schedule, and I'll be nagging all that week, all those 2 weeks, And then I'm gonna quickly put together a schedule, so as close to what you said, the hours you can, I'll send it back to you with the CRA numbers and all that stuff.
Okay.
Okay, fair?
Yeah, sounds good.
Do you wanna come Wednesdays or Mondays? Which is better for you?
I mean, I've already been to 2 Wednesdays.
Either
might
one's
as well
fine.
just keep going Wednesday.
Yep, and, if I remember right, no, next week we'll probably watch the video for the counseling one, so that's what, did you come? No, you didn't come. You didn't come yesterday? Yeah, so you're seeing the counseling one next week, I think.
Okay.
That's what I have.
Sounds good.
Okay, all right.
Alright, have a good
I'll
one.
see you later.